Hello. How are y'all? It feels like I haven't been here in a million years. No, Nana Terry, I will not be. Unfortunately, I don't feel like I've done enough work to justify that this year. Hey, Cammy, Judy, Gavel. How are y'all? Oh, thank you, Cammy. Hey, Nance and Shortcake. Cam. Yeah. Same pomegranate. Same. Hey, Evil Queen. Angel. Carla. Stacy. Yeah, it feels like it's been a long time. I definitely haven't done any true crime stuff. That is for sure. I've kind of gotten way off track and been in Cromaland for a really, really long time, it feels like. But that's it. It's not happening anymore. I'm out. So, hey, Sassy, Angela. Garage is open. Crap. Yeah, welcome back. Hey, Sally and Betty. It is good to see everybody. Thug. Well, yeah, I understand. It is. It can be. Um, it really can be. So I'll address that really quickly before I get started because this is a really long document. So we're going to break it up into two parts, I think. But there are so many points that I want to make and discuss with you guys. So the Krama stuff. I'm literally just stepping away now, and it's because of my friend. You know, she was hurt by a lot of things on here, and I've seen other friends who were in the chat be hurt by just nonsense on here. You know, and my first instinct is to stick up for my friends, always, always. But it's getting to the point where people they don't listen. They don't listen. No, you're kind of talking to a wall, you know. So you know what's the point really? What's the point? I've been busy with kids and animals. I haven't been able to catch up. This is going to be interesting. I've listened to so many different perspectives on it now. I watched all of Gray's stuff, Gray Hughes. I've watched all of Doodoo Ron's stuff. The attorney that he has on there, Melanie Williams, I believe. That's been extremely interesting to watch her. I've also watched Profiling Evil. I've watched Court TV. We're going to get into that part of it here. But this document, while very poorly written, is very interesting. And that's why I have this disclaimer at the bottom on the banner here. This is a memo for a Franks hearing. And a Franks hearing is no, I did. I watched Duty Ron. I did. Yeah. I know. What are you thinking, Jenny? You're like, wait, you watched Duty Ron? Yes, I did. I very much did. Hey, Betty and Bonita too. Truth and Justice. It is, Sally, it is it is very interesting. So I've been digging into that as well. Then, Duty Ron. Sorry. She ain't said it. I may have a different, I don't know. I may have a different perspective. Oh, I'm sorry. Because it didn't sound like me. Hey, Ashley. So there've been a lot of perspectives, right? And there's what we have to try to keep in mind here is when there's a situation like this, the prosecution has to turn over the discovery, the investigation, the paperwork, the documents, whatever, to the defense. And people are like, well, why is all of this coming out right now? Well, we have to keep this in mind. Nobody had been arrested, right? So if nobody was arrested, then who gets the documents? Nobody. So they just sit there and that's it. Yes, it is Eva. Hey, Eve and Selena. So we have to really pause for a sec and think about that because I was thinking the same thing. Why would this be coming out now? That doesn't make any sense. Well, because everything was sealed. If you think about it, we hadn't heard anything really about this case at all. We had the Keegan Klein stuff, which Gray Hughes and I went over, and it was really very interesting. And in that moment, while reading the Keegan Klein stuff, we were convinced that he had something to do with it, right? And then he ends up being arrested for pedophilia or child porn images. So you've got to think, well, I personally was convinced that he had something somewhere somehow to do with the whole situation. And then Richard Allen is arrested, right? I did read the footnotes. Of course, you have to read the footnotes. What? You have to read the footnotes, Gordy. Hey, BG. So, hey, Music City Mom and Turtle. If you're reading this document at first glance, you're thinking, oh my gosh, they're reaching, boy. They are reaching. What are they trying to do to us here? But let you listen to this really quickly before we start reading it, okay? So hold on.
Are confused by this. I see the chat. There's people in the chat. And Ed, there's a lot of questions that we're going to take your questions in the chat. Hashtag Mike, hashtag Ed, hashtag Dutyron, hashtag Melanie. There's 4 of us. Put your questions in there when we're ready to take them. But Melanie, what I wanted to go to you on.
Can you guys hear them okay? Hey, who am I? Annie. Just making sure you guys can hear them. Right, Eve, exactly. Like Odinist. Wait, what? You can. Great. Let's go.
On is this information was not just some conjured up story by the defense. Nope. Please, again, walk the audience through where this information comes and why it was put out there.
Important. All of this information comes from discovery that the prosecution turned over to the defense. It's all in there. That's everything they gave them, except for some stuff that they didn't give them, which we already talked about, the pictures of the bullets. They had to go actually to Georgia to find a witness that the prosecution, they say, was hiding from them. But all of this evidence, they're not just making this stuff up. This was given to them by the prosecution. And it's also based on things that they observed in the correctional facility. You know, the part about the patches that the corrections officers were wearing. So they're not making this stuff up, you guys, and they've got the photographs to back it up. And I'm going to go so far as to say that, in my opinion, because I hear a lot of people talking about that picture that we just looked at of that letter F made out of blood spatter, that is something that Court TV invented. That is a graphic that they came up with based on a woman who was on that show that said, my sources say that it looked kind of like this. That is not evidence in this case. That is not the crime scene photograph that is attached to this motion. And I see a lot of people getting caught up in that. And I think that was kind of irresponsible for them to put that out there. And it's going to confuse a lot of people because we don't know what that crime scene photograph looks like. But I don't think it looks like that. And we may never know, because those exhibits may never be shown to the public. They may only be shown to the jury if it gets that far.
Again, and maybe in a little defense to Court TV, I watched all of their coverage of it, and they put up a little depiction saying that this is, you know, not anything from the court or from the crime scene. So they did put that little disclaimer out there. It was just they were just trying to give the audience a little bit of what, you know, a view of
No,
it.
I'm just saying that the public is going to interpret that the wrong way.
Correct.
And I see a lot of people in the chat talking about that right now, saying that wasn't painted, that was spatter. But what you're saying is, yes, they did put a disclaimer, but I think the general public is not gonna register that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's go to you.
Okay. So I agree 100% with what she's saying. Because if you think about it, who's going to see the disclaimer? Who's reading the disclaimer? Nobody, right? So they're looking at the photo that somebody said that their source said it kind of looked like that, right? And it's Shawnee, it's extremely irresponsible that they would say anything, because those pictures are sealed. You can't just make that up and say, well, I think it looked like this. Hold on. Trying to get a picture of what they did here. Yeah, this is Court TV. And this was, it was not okay to do. This was not, in my opinion, it's really not okay to do, because then people are thinking that it could have just been a blood splatter, you know. But do we know for sure it wasn't blood splatter? No, we don't. So we probably shouldn't put that information out there. This is what they said that their source said that it kind of looked like. Well, unless the source is somebody very close inside this case, they shouldn't have done this. So this is what they said it looked like, right? But the document's actually sealed. Yeah, you watched it. You didn't know that it wasn't real. You see, to me, that's very concerning. Let me see if they say anything directly about it here.
Tree. And it's described in this memorandum as being the letter F, a rune painted in blue.
Let's see how she says it. Now, symbolism is also very interesting, and we'll get into that after, but
Collect those sticks. Now, the other thing we have an image of is what was depicted on the tree. And it's described in this memorandum as being the letter F, a rune painted in blood.
Pause. Listen to the words. It was described as an F, a rune painted in blood, not a splatter that looked like an F, but painted in blood. So for them to put this up, that very much looks like people, you know, just put some splatter out here and made it look like an F. So, you know, there's that. But now let's get into this document here. Oh, this document is something altogether different. Here we go. All right. So everybody's clear. We know what the Frank's hearing is, right? So we're going to just go straight down, because this is a very, very long document. They first outline the 8 things that you need to know. And keep in mind, this came from the prosecution's office. Members of a pagan Norse religion called Odinism, hijacked by white nationalists, sacrificed Abby and Libby. Do you guys know about the group that's in Indiana? Who these guys are? I'm going to show you really quickly so that you can see who they are and understand this too, because I went deep diving on them and was like, oh, well, this is something. This is definitely something. So Odinism is not some crazy cult, but it's like a breakaway group. They hijacked the Odinism beliefs, and they call themselves, this gang calls themselves the Vinlanders. And some of the people who are mentioned in this document are part of that specific group. There's a lot in here that's going to go over why they were suspects, why these people that they discuss were the suspects, and what led them to all of this. This was a very plausible theory for the prosecutors in the beginning. So that needs to be kept in mind too, is that they had all this information on these people because they felt like, well, this could be something. This could be true. All right. Okay. Very early on, those in charge of the Delphi murder investigation claimed that they consulted with a Purdue professor concerning what resembled possible Odinism signatures left behind at the crime scene. After the Purdue professor proclaimed, according to State Trooper Jerry Holman, that it was not Odinism or any type of cult worshiping or any type of group that would have conducted the crime, the Odinism angle was essentially abandoned. However, as of September 7th, 2023, the leaders of the Delphi investigation team, 1, claim they cannot identify who this purported professor was. Okay. So they're thinking in the beginning that this is like some type of cult, Odinism. They allegedly go to this, I don't know, expert at Purdue University who probably studied different religions, cults, whatever. They cannot remember who this person was. They don't know who it was. They had to have gotten a report, correct, on the findings or the reason why they didn't believe that this was Odinism. But 2, have provided no reports from this purported professor. And 3, have further indicated they may never be able to figure out who this professor is. That is baffling to me right there. Based in large part upon this mystery, Purdue professor's opinion, the Delphi investigative leadership claimed that it essentially abandoned considering Odinite involvement in the murders. And then years passed, 2018, 2019, 2020, 21, 22. Thankfully, during those passing years, law enforcement officers Kevin Murphy, Greg Ferenczi, and Todd Click continued to pursue the truth. So we've got to also keep that in mind. They decided, wait, even though this mystery Purdue professor says it's not, we think it could be. So we're going to keep pursuing this, right? Which to me was like, wait, what? So they were still pursuing this all of this time, allegedly. Yeah, can't we just go there and ask some professors or, I don't know, something? But anyway, the law enforcement officers continue to pursue this. Because of their curiosity and investigative efforts, the evidence establishing the names of the likely murderers of this Odinite cult became known to the Delphi investigative leadership no later than February of 2018. Due to either incompetence or a concerted intentionality, those in charge of the investigation refused to arrest or even properly investigate these obvious suspects. 3. On May 1st, 2023, the state of Indiana, by way of prosecutor Nick McClelland, received a letter from former Rushville Assistant Police Chief Todd Click, now retired. So this is the police chief, as well as other investigators for these several years who were looking into the Odinism aspect of this entire thing. And again, while this is not written well, we have to remember that these attorneys are putting their careers on the line here. They are naming names, they are making accusations, and they are submitting this to a judge. They could be disbarred. So they really either believe this is what they've gathered from the information provided by prosecution, or what? I mean, let's keep going. Okay, Click, Murphy, and Frenzy were 3 of the law enforcement officers who worked on the Delphi murder case, particularly focused on the Odinite angle as it intersected with suspects in Rushville, Indiana. After reading Richard Allen's probable cause affidavit, Click became concerned that the information contained in Richard Allen's affidavit pointing the finger at Richard Allen was far less compelling than the totality of the information that Detective Ferenczi, Detective Murphy, and Officer Click had accumulated during the Rushville portion of the investigation. So he's saying that the former chief of police looked at what they had against Allen versus all of the things that they had been collecting against these Odinites and all of this, and they thought, this isn't great. Let's think, what do they have specifically on Richard Allen? As far as we know, there's no DNA tying him to the scene. We will get to the bullet that was found. It's an unspent cartridge. It is not a bullet that was shot out of a gun. It is not a shell casing. It's an unspent. So if you are emptying the bullet that's in your chamber and it falls out, it was just left there on the ground in the dirt. But it was deep into the dirt, like it was in there. So that also, to me, doesn't make a lot of sense unless he pushed it into the ground for some reason. But let's keep going. Click was concerned that for some reason the leadership of the investigative team had failed to share with Prosecutor McClelland, yeah, I'm saying his name right, the evidence gathered by Click, Ferenczi, and Murphy. Click's concerns led to him to seek out a lawyer to assist him in the drafting of a letter. This letter was then sent to McClelland. So the former chief got concerned, wrote a letter to the prosecutor. This letter was not provided to the defense until after it was obvious from the last round of depositions that the defense, who has doggedly pursued witnesses as far away as Georgia, would certainly be talking with Todd Click. McClelland had this letter in his possession for over 4 months before turning it over to the defense. There can be no mistaking that this letter is exculpatory in nature and could have been used by the defense as it prepared for the upcoming depositions. However, it is apparent that McClelland only offered up the letter after it was obvious. So down here, you see the little footnotes down here. Find attached certified mail receipts showing that the Carroll County Prosecutor's Office received the letter on May 1st, 2023, marked as Exhibit 1. Find the attached affidavit of Todd Click, marked as Exhibit 2. 4, a copy of that letter is attached here too, marked as Exhibit 3. Okay. So that the defense would soon be learning of the letter's existence. In other words, the defense team would obviously be meeting with or deposing Click in the next few weeks. At that time, Click most certainly would have revealed to the defense that in April 2023, he had sent a letter containing exculpatory information to McClelland. At this point, McClelland had two distinct choices. One, sit on the evidence, hoping that the defense team would refocus its efforts on another angle of the investigation, or two, disclose the evidence. Hold on, my dogs are losing their mind. I've moved Tommy in here with me now. Okay. So he doesn't cry anymore. Or two, disclose the evidence claiming that the contents of the letter were overlooked in the volume of discovery. He chose the latter. Unfortunately for the state, neither approach explains away the fact that Click specifically directed the letter to McClelland himself, and further, Click was so determined to ensure his information was consumed by McClelland that he directed the information directly to McClelland via certified mail. The letter is stamped received May 1st, 2023, Carroll County prosecutors. Click's report landed at Ground Zero, a prosecutor's office with no more than 2 full-time prosecutors and a handful of full-time staff members at best. Could this exculpatory evidence have been completely overlooked? Not plausible. And Cordy's right. Is any of this relevant to a Franks hearing? No. The Franks hearing, this was genius of them to do, though, because now this information is out there, right? All they had to say were the reasons why the search warrant for Richard Allen was faulty, false, illegal, whatever. That's all you need to put in a motion for a Franks hearing. That's it. But they put all of this in and then released it, which is shocking. I mean, I thought we were lucky when we got the Keegan Kline stuff, but this is just absolutely wild. Yes, Remy, he does. Okay. Not only did the prosecution withhold that letter from defense, but law enforcement also withheld several other exculpatory pieces of evidence, including an 85-page compilation of reports by Click prepared in 2019 and several videos containing statements that support the defense's theory that Richard Allen is innocent. This 85-page report detailed the investigative work performed by Click, Forensi, Murphy, and others, including the FBI. According to the summary of Click's investigation that he attached with the letter, quote, the BAU of the FBI determined that the individuals responsible for the homicides were within or involved in Nordic beliefs. Yeah, I'm wicked smart. Let's pause and read that one more time. Hey, Trish. According to the summary of Click's investigation that he attached with the letter, quote, the Behavioral Analysis Unit, BAU, of the FBI determined that the individual or individuals responsible for the homicides were involved in Nordic beliefs. End quote. This was news to the defense, as no member of the Unified Command in charge of the investigation revealed this information to the defense during recent depositions. This includes Trooper Holman, who told the defense that he didn't remember if the FBI's BAU unit determined one way or another whether those with Nordic beliefs had been involved in the murders. That would really, really frustrate me. They're tearing up their little thing. At least up until the time of this filing, the prosecution has provided no evidence whatsoever of the findings of the FBI's BAU unit concerning the involvement of Odinists in the murders. None. The letter that Click sent to McClellan was the first time that the defense had heard that the FBI actually believed that Odinists were likely involved. That is not good. In other words, this report contained exculpatory evidence that Unified Command concealed from the defense. This information was and is crucial for Richard Allen's defense. Some of the exculpatory evidence in the form of videos was finally released to the defense September 8th, 2023, over 9 months after the defense counsel entered their appearance. The defense is still reviewing the September 8th evidence dump. In the brief time that the defense has had to review this newly received evidence, it found exculpatory evidence both in the videos that the defense has watched and the documents that the defense has reviewed. While the prosecution has been holding on to this exculpatory evidence, Richard Allen has been living in hell. Does everybody know where they're holding Richard Allen, or were at the time? He is in a 12 by 8 solitary confinement room for 23 hours a day at a prison, not a county jail where people are held until they're convicted usually. He's in a prison. He's lost over 40 pounds, it looks like. He looks like a shell of a human being. In this country, we believe in innocent until proven guilty. Every accused person is entitled to a defense, a fair defense. I understand that on the phone, he may have told his wife several times that he did this. I don't know the whole details of that, but even so, he's in a prison in a room with a metal bed with a little cot, right? A toilet and a Bible, 23 hours a day. He's led around like on a rope, like he's a rescue dog or something. It's very strange. And he looks crazy at this point. He was a big guy. He wasn't a tiny little man. He is now. And that's not showing sympathy for a murderer. We don't know that he's a murderer at this point. So they have to go through all of this stuff. So lastly, the evidence will show that the week of August 28th, 2023, Prosecutor McClelland and State Trooper Jerry Holman requested a meeting with Todd Click. By this time, the defense team had taken several depositions, including Holman, Liggett, and Leesenby, and that the prosecution and Delphi investigative leadership now knew for a while the defense team had been aware of the Odinist evidence, at least the evidence that the prosecution turned over to the defense, scattered through multiple hard drives and many flash drives. The prosecution had learned in early August that the defense had figured out the strong Odinist ties to the crimes, despite the apparent attempts of the prosecution, Liggett and Holman, to hide this exculpatory information from the defense. Wanting to allay his fears that an innocent man was sitting in Westville, Click, the former chief, agreed to attend the meeting with Holman, hoping that he would be learning that evidence did in fact exist linking Richard Allen to the murders. Click's hopes were dashed. Paragraph 17 of Click's affidavit. Now this is what's in his affidavit. Upon directing the letter to Mr. McClelland, I heard nothing from the prosecutor's office or any other member of the Unified Command until I received phone calls on August 23rd and 25th of 2023, which involved brief discussions regarding scheduling. During these phone calls, it was requested that I meet with Trooper Holman during the week of September 4th, 2023. I was informed that law enforcement officials intended to sit down with me and discuss with me the reason why Richard Allen was responsible for the crimes. I was told that he, Jerry Holman, wanted to put my mind at ease. However, during the meeting with Detective Holman and a second detective, whose name I am not familiar with, there was no discussion or offering as to why they believed Richard Allen was guilty of the charged crimes. I believe the interview was an attempt by them to clean up their loose ends, knowing that they had given very little, if any, attention to the investigative efforts of myself, Detective Frenzy, and Detective Murphy. Yikes. Yikes. No, wise old lady, he is not guilty. He's not pleading guilty. He's pleading not guilty. Number 4. Not only did Carroll County Sheriff Tony Liggett fail to include all of this Odinite information in his October 3rd, 2022 affidavit for search warrant, and not only did McClellan and the Unified Command withhold this evidence, Liggett also concealed damaging witness statements that devastate Liggett's timeline. A timeline that Liggett needed in order to be true to place Richard Allen at the trail when Abby and Libby were abducted. Additionally, Liggett lied in his affidavit about the statements of another key witness, further devastating Liggett's timeline. 5. Richard Allen has zero connection to any pagan cult or pagan cultists. Furthermore, no forensic evidence such as DNA or electronic evidence links Richard Allen to the girls or to the crime scene. He is a completely innocent man. Thank you, evil queen. It is crazy. It's crazy. 6. Most of the evidence backing these assertions was found scattered over no less than 10 hard drives and several flash drives provided by the prosecution, meaning that the defense is not making wild accusations, but rather primarily relaying facts and information that's backed up by the prosecution's own discovery, even discovery that the prosecution just provided the defense September 8th, 2023. Not coincidentally, members of Odinists of the same pagan cult are employed as correction officers for the Indiana Department of Corrections at Westville Correctional Facility. That part's interesting. Inside of its cold concrete walls of the maximum security unit of this dilapidated reformatory that Richard Allen is being threatened, intimidated, and mentally abused. Throughout this document, references are made to Unified Command. Essentially, the Unified Command was the leadership of the Delphi murder investigation, according to Tony Liggett, Carroll County Sheriff, and member of the Unified Command when the investigation began. Unified Command consisted of law enforcement from a variety of entities, local, state, and federal. Unified Command were overseers of the entire investigation operation, and according to Liggett, they are from Carroll County, Tony Liggett and Kevin Hammond. From State Police, Jerry Holman, Jay Harper, and David Vito. From the FBI, Rich Davies. Look at 26 months salty. I live so much. All right. They get into Odinism, what it is not, or why they believe, based on this evidence, that this is somehow related to the girls. Odinism is the pagan religion referenced above, and its followers are called Odinites. Odinists are enamored with Viking and Nordic culture. Evidence supports that at the crime scene, these murdering Odinites left behind obvious signatures, symbols in the form of runes. Does everybody know what runes are? Let me see. I just want to make sure you guys know what runes are before we just move past that. I used to read runes back in the day. You do. Okay. It's like the 500 Odin sacrifice. Runes are not sticks. Silly. Runes are rocks with, I guess, rock, I don't know, with carvings on them, and you can read them. Like you can shake them up and put them out, and then what you're getting or what you're pulling out. Hey, finest. You've had a rune reading. Okay. So the runes, the shape of what is on the runes were used here in the form of sticks to make the shapes, right? So, la, 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 la. Let me show you something. Let me show you something really quick here. Do you love my voice? Yes, you do. I don't want something from Etsy. Thanks, though. All right. Let me show you this. Pshong. Let me show you this. All right, you see this? Right there. These are runes. These are not runes. These are the symbols that are on runes. Okay? And they each have their own meaning. And then people use them to read them. Okay? So this is what they look like. And just pay particular attention to a couple of them here, and you'll see why soon. But for now, we'll move past this part of it and go back to the document so you can understand what he's talking about here a little bit better. Okay. These runes were 1, formed with sticks, 2, fashioned with tree branches, and 3, painted using the blood of Liberty Germain. They're saying painted, not blood splatter formed something that looked like. Okay. Honey bunny. Okay. Sticks and tree branches were deliberately, carefully, and proficiently placed on each girl in a certain arrangement, mimicking certain runes. At least one of the branches appeared to have its end cut off cleanly by some type of tool like an electric saw, providing proof that a preconceived plan. Additionally, the blood of liberty was used to paint the mark on a tree with a rune that looks similar to the F. With a simple Google search, these runes would be identifiable as one of many calling cards of this pagan cult. Yet, law enforcement in charge of the Delphi investigation seemingly and quickly abandoned the obvious correlation between the crime scene and Odinism, despite the obscene amount of evidence linking Odinism to the crime scene. Footnote: although State Police Superintendent Doug Carter pulled the plug and kicked the FBI off the Delphi murder case around 2021 over some conflicts, according to Jerry Holman. You can see Holman's deposition, page 123 to 130. Interestingly, Tony Liggett, who was deposed before Holman, claimed under oath that Doug Carter was not involved in the making of the decisions for this case. You can see Liggett's deposition, page 30, lines 10 to 24. Furthermore, Liggett, claimed to be unaware that the FBI was even kicked out, let alone that any agency had actually kicked out the FBI from investigating the Delphi case. It is quite odd that the salient topic of Doug Carter kicking the FBI off the Delphi case would never have been discussed between Liggett and Holman, who were working so closely with one another in unified command. If that can be believed, it would be quite perplexing. So, The court will learn that in his affidavit for the search warrant that Sheriff Liggett failed to inform Judge Diener, is it Diener? Diener? Diner? Is it like Dinah or is it like Dina? I don't know. Yeah, the sticks that were found on the body. Many runes that look like the letter F, including a rune called Ansus, stands for Odin. And we'll get down to exactly which ones they are. So we're just going to say judge because you think it's like Diener? Okay. Also, the court will learn in the affidavit for the search warrant that Sheriff Liggett failed to inform the judge that nothing, absolutely nothing, links Richard Allen to Odinism or any religious cult. Also, no forensics such as DNA, no electronic data extracted from his computers or phones or social media links Richard Allen to the crime scene. Additionally, nothing links Richard Allen to any of the Odinite suspects. He goes on to name these people, by the way. So, and I went and looked at these people, of course, and one of them, the main one, had that, we call them scally caps in Boston. I don't know what people call them here, but it looked like whatever bridge guy had on his head. To me, in Boston, that's a scally cap. I don't know. But he had that hat on in a video, and people were like, because he had been named a suspect or looked at as a suspect for so long, when he did this TikTok video, it triggered some people. And so he came back on to further trigger people with that hat. And then he put on a different hat and he was like, "Are you still triggered, Karen?" And so he's kind of pushing this and kind of making fun of it, which really pissed people off. They did not appreciate that in the least bit. So let's move on. Additionally, nothing links him to any of these people. The same Odinite suspects that evidence strongly supports sacrificed Abby and Libby in some sort of pagan ritual. Richard Allen had nothing to do with this crime, but is an innocent man, a patsy for the police, arrested 26 days before an election. Failure to pursue the Odinist links. Law enforcement's failure to actively pursue the obvious links between the crime scene and Odinism is confounding. It is even more confounding when days and weeks after the murders, a particular Odinite from Logansport named Brad Holder posted on social media images mimicking the very runes found at the crime scene. That's disturbing. And I did go through, and that is true, a crime scene that was unreleased and unknown to the general public even to this day. So we haven't seen the crime scene. Nobody has seen this crime scene. Brad, who is a very proud member, posted runes that in many ways depicted what was seen at the crime scene. They just ruined Brad's life. Well, they've been, Brad was mentioned very, very, very early on in this. So if you go back to like the Reddit forums and stuff, you'll see Brad being talked about 4 years ago, 3 years ago. It was always in there. But keep this in mind too. Who's Brad Holder? He was an Odinite whose son Logan was dating Abby. So there's a clear connection there, by the way. His son Logan had been dating Abby. Brad Holder's social media posts seemingly taunted the very police that refused to fully investigate him. And to Salty's point, yes, there are a lot of digs in here. It's a very immature document. It's not a document that I consider professional in any way because of the high level of sarcasm. And you know I love sarcasm, but they go a little bit too far. You know, I get the frustration 9 months into this arrest of Richard Allen, and they're mad. They have the former chief and other investigators talking to them about this angle. And now they're seeing what the prosecution had. That's very frustrating. If your client is rotting away in a jail cell and we don't know what's happening to him in there, to see all of this at first glance, you're frustrated, right? And, they're going to do whatever they can to save his client. But for me, everything that Keegan Kline, in my opinion, the way that they laid that out was it was much more compelling to me that Keegan Kline could have been the person over this guy, Richard Allen. I'm like, well, where the hell did they come up with this guy? Why this dude? But we haven't seen anything. But now we're seeing all of this stuff. Oh, yes, Steph, they did. They did investigate it. Girl, they had the BAU team of the FBI say that it was connected to Odinism. But then they said that they went to a professor at Purdue University who said, no, this is not Odinism. This is not a cult thing. Here's the problem. They don't know who that professor was. They don't know that professor's name, and they have no report from that professor. Two detectives and a chief continued to pursue this all the way up till 2022. Like, they just continued because they believed that it seemed more likely, allegedly, that it was connected to the cult angle, the Odinist angle. So here we go. The defense believes that the court will be shocked at the number of clues or Easter eggs, both before and after the murders, that Holder openly posted on his Facebook page that pointed the finger to his involvement in the murders. Always, MC. However, a fact that is simply mind-blowing to the defense is that Brad Holder was never considered a suspect in Abby and Libby's murders. State Trooper Jerry Holman, one of the law enforcement officers in charge of organizing the investigation of the Delphi murders, claimed his August 10th, 2023 deposition that Brad Holder was not really ever a suspect. Police reports written near the time of the murders reveal that Jerry Holman is telling the truth. Brad Holder was cleared quickly, March 16th, 2017. That could be because he was on camera at work. It could be because he was out of state. It could be for a number of reasons. I went through his entire social media profile with a fine-tooth comb, and I don't know if it could have been this guy or not, but they get deeper into all of this. Angela, you'd have to have a good amount of knowledge on Odinism to stage a crime scene where you're familiar enough with runes. I mean, sure, you could have heard about the Odinites that are in your area. If we're saying Richard Allen did this, he could have went and bought a bag of runes and just imitated it, right? He could have done that. When we get into the actual crime scene, which is really graphic, the way that all of this happened seemed, in my opinion, you'd have to be somebody who is really detailed, or you are doing it for a specific person. The way the bodies were posed, the way that they went and found, or he went and found sticks to place on the body to shape them like the runes. It doesn't connect for me. And if this was just the defense coming up with this, like, oh yeah, this seems like a great idea, let's blame it on the Odinist, I would think, this is weird. Like, where are you getting this? Memphis 3 or something? Where are you getting this from? But that's not the case. This is the investigation, the prosecution's investigation with the FBI, with the BAU, and they're just now getting this to the defense, and the defense is saying, hold on, you had all this information, and you find an unspent bullet that I think it belonged to a 40 cal. How did you connect all these dots? There's probably a lot more, maybe, hopefully, connecting Richard Allen somehow. But what they're laying out here, while snarky and poorly written, it's making me take pause and say, wait, no normal human being is going to look into Odinism enough to go pick certain runes, place bodies a certain way, go get sticks, put the sticks over the bodies. It doesn't make any sense. So in March of 2017, Tony Liggett stated in a report that there were no leads required concerning Brad Holder, meaning that it was not necessary for law enforcement to continue to look for leads related to him. Liggett made that determination 15 days after the girls were murdered. By March 16, 2023, Unified Command member Kevin Hammond wrote that Brad Holder was cleared. The girls had not been dead for 30 days, and Unified Command had already cleared him as a suspect. Unified Command had already cleared Holder as a suspect within 30 days, knowing Brad Holder's son dated Abby. Unified Command already cleared him as a suspect, although a simple review of his Facebook page would have shown that he was a proud Odinite that had had an absolute obsession and fascination with runes. This is true. I went and looked. This is true. He has them like laid out on his coffee table. He's always posting stuff. It's very strange. He also has a TikTok channel where he shaves. Okay. Yeah. He just shaves. That's what he does. Puts all the shaving cream and then he shaves. And then he gives these weird smiles. It's a whole situation. So anyway, police knew or had to know that the runes had been left at the crime scene. Additionally, Unified Command had already cleared Holder as a suspect in spite of the fact that the runes found on Brad Holder's Facebook page mimicked runes found at the crime scene. So is he lying? Are the people writing this? They could be in a lot of trouble for this legally. You can exaggerate as a defensive attorney, of course, but you can't flat out use what the prosecution's turned over to you and make it into something that it's not. You cannot do that. Jenny, we don't have a clue what the F is. We went over that earlier. These documents say it was painted. What court TV showed was very irresponsible. They just showed a bunch of dots. That is not painted. You don't paint dots on a tree. They said it was painted. That photo is sealed. The crime scene photos are sealed. So we're not going to see them. Whoever court TV spoke to said, a source tells me it kind of looked like this. Well, that doesn't really help you because, yes, Freya is an Odinite name. Shut up, Birdie. Yeah. I knew someone would catch that. I didn't think it would be you, Cordy, but yeah. It is. Let's just get right back to what we were doing, okay? All right. Additionally, Unified Command had already cleared him as a suspect in spite of the fact that they mimicked the crime scene. The investigation had barely begun, but they had already cleared this very man that any person with even a small amount of common sense or curiosity would believe was a strong candidate for being involved in the murder of the girls. It wasn't you. For example, the court will also learn that Unified Command was aware of a very disturbing image on Brad Holder's social media account that actually mimicked the crime scene. And people are saying, well, they shouldn't have put names in here. They should have redacted the names. I understand what you're saying. You got to keep in mind, Brad Holder has been going through this for years. He has now become so accustomed to the crap that he's just like mimicking what is going on, right? Good point, Skilo. There are multiple runic alphabets, so translating sticks or streaks would depend on the translator knowing the runic origin. Right. They said that they had the BAU unit analyze all of that, and they said that it was connected to Odinism. I don't know that to be true, but that's what they're saying in here. Okay. On April 12, 2017, Trooper Joseph Ryan Winters received a phone call from a man in Georgia named Ryan Boucher, who discovered disturbing images on Brian Holder's social media. So you have this Ryan guy, okay? He's just a dude who kind of, for whatever reason, got very involved in this. He was like probably an at-home YouTube dude like us. Who knows? I don't know. Yes, it is sealed now, Susiana. Or it's not sealed, it's redacted. So he starts digging, this guy. And he's calling the troopers and the police in charge of Delphi and giving this information, which is a little weird to me because Abby was dating the son of Brad, right? And if you're going through all of this, of course, you would have investigated Brad's son, maybe even Brad, if he had contact with Abby or Libby. You don't really know. But why is some guy from Georgia calling and saying, hey, have you seen all this of a local dude? So, having somehow learned that Brad Holder's son Logan had dated Abby Williams, Ryan began reviewing Brad's social media. One of the things that Ryan viewed on Brad's social media was an image of two women, either dead or posed as if they were dead, on the ground in what appeared to be a forest. Both women had tree limbs and sticks arranged on their bodies. One of the women had her arm stretched out above her head, similar to the way that Libby's arm was stretched above her head. Both women were clothed, and the stick and tree branch formations on the girls was different than the stick and tree branch formation on Abby and Libby, but otherwise it bore a very eerie similarity to the murder scene in Delphi. Pause. Ryan had not seen crime scene photos. He'd not seen any of this. He's some dude in Georgia. So he hadn't seen this. He was just looking through, just like many of us have done. We look through people's social medias, Candace, the Wells, all the things, right? He sees this weird photo of two women dead in a forest or laying in a forest, and their bodies are posed strangely. He sends this to the police. The police know what the crime scene photos look like. Bells don't start going off at your head at this point. And you're saying, wait, he has this on his thing, and then this is over here, and he has runes that look like the same things that are over here? How? How does every alarm not go off? Cordy, I think that they do have some of these photos, yes. Yes, Anna. Yep. And it's also available on Reddit. I saved it, but yes. Okay. Ryan had no knowledge of the actual crime scene. However, after reviewing Brad's social media, Ryan was disturbed about this image, as well as other images that provided insight into Brad's fascination with the runes. Believing that the disturbing images may be something of interest to those investigating the Delphi murders, Ryan contacted Toby Lesenby, who at the time was the sheriff of Carroll County. Lesenby quickly rebuffed Ryan telling Ryan that Holder was not a suspect. I don't know if I have that specific one, Cordy. I'll look for sure though. Hold on. Let me check. That's interesting. Okay. Let me see here. His name is Ryan. Okay, hold on. Three years ago. All right, what is this? I'm sure they're out there, 100%. And I saved most stuff to my phone and didn't upload it yet to my computer, but that's okay. Hold on. And he's not very shy. He has everything on his Facebook page. He doesn't give a crap. This guy, he's just like, yeah, whatever. Shut up. Let me see if he still has it on his Facebook page. Come on, Brad. Hello, honey. Photos. This guy takes pictures of everything. Come on, Bradley. Dead fish. I don't like that. I don't like it. Okay. Do you guys want to see this Facebook or no? Yeah, you did. You did get me all over here. But it's very interesting. Why? Very, very interesting. His Facebook had me. I was down a rabbit hole. Down a rabbit hole. I was like, why am I down here? This is terrible. But there I was, down the rabbit hole. I'll show you just really quickly some of the stuff on the Facebook page, okay? It's totally public. Keep that in mind. It's totally, he has it open. He doesn't care who sees any of this stuff. None of it's locked down. He does not seem to be concerned at all, okay? So these are some old pictures. Here's some others. 2018. Yeah, okay. So he's a Mason, allegedly. I don't really know how true that is, whatever. Oh, well, that's something. Amber's property. Ugh. All right. They're saying it's not still on here. So what about that? See the hat? Flicking, somebody needs to. And I'm sure they have. But, you know, the scally cap, right? What was the guy on the bridge wearing? He was wearing the scally cap. So he's mad that people are mad that the Bridge Guy and him have a similar hat. So then he starts posting stuff to trigger people, whatever. Hail Tyr, God of war, God of justice and sacrifice. This is May 9th, 2017. Thank you for the sacrifices made and justice served. Okay. I don't know what that means, but okay. Better dead than red. This is a gathering of some of the Odinite guys. Nope, he doesn't. See? There's different. We just saw where the hell did it go? So one day he's got like this guy's beard. I don't even know. Here's September, and Bridge Guy had that thing around his face as well. So this is May. So if you have something around your face, who knows? You can't really tell. Okay. Today's message, April 9th. So he's got a lot of these on here, tons of them actually. Here's some. The past 2 days, I've drawn the Jibo rune. Last Saturday, I hit a deer on the way to work. Earlier this week, I sold my Dodge. With that money, I ordered a new bumper. This morning, I hit a raccoon on the way to work. Not that I don't appreciate the gifts the gods are giving me, both positive and negative. I don't think my nerves can handle much more giving. Let's try to slow this down with an Isa rune. Isa, Jibo, Isa, Jibo, Isa, whatever. Okay. Interesting. And then you've got the rights of Odin. This is March of 2017. This is also March 2017. I'm not really sure what's happening here, but okay. So here he is with some stuff covering his face, March 11th, and you cannot see his beard. And you're probably right. It does cater to the doubters, but Jenny, because it's coming from prosecution in their investigation, you've got to kind of be like, well, okay, we've got to at least look at it, right? So this is March 17th. The beard's a bit shorter. Hey, butterfly kisses. Just seeing what else we can find here. February 3rd. This is February 3rd. Do you see the F? There's an F there. This one. I don't know if this is the same F, if the lines are going down or up. I'm not 100% sure of that. Says the defense, but Skilo, couldn't they get in a lot of trouble for that? You can't make this stuff up that's not in the in the discovery that they gave them. And the chief of police came to them to discuss this. I think it was more up like this. So he posts this on February 7th, this one. And allegedly, this is what's on the tree, right? Possessions won or earned income, luck, abundance, financial strength in the present or near future, sign of hope and plenty, success and happiness, social success, energy, foresight, fertility, creation, destruction, Fehu reversed or Merkstav, loss of personal property, esteem, or something that you put in effort to keep. It indicates some sort of failure, greed, burnout, atrophy, discord, cowardice, stupidity, dullness, poverty, slavery, bondage. I don't know. So let's get a little closer to that date. And we don't know what days you could. This looks like the 15th, right? Now, if this is covered, I don't know. Allegedly, this is what, the next day? What is this? Okay. February 14th. Today is the day to focus your energy towards what you know is right. Pull your inner warrior to guard and encourage you. This rune can help you succeed in a personal endeavor. T-E-I. Let's just look at something here. T-E-I-W-A-Z. It's the up arrow. So I don't know what that would mean in any of this. February 13th is stop. N-A-U-D-I-Z. Okay, so it's like kind of like an X-ish type looking, I don't know, thing. Let's try and find his face right around this time. Yeah, see, I mean, from this angle with this coat. And Bridge Guy, what the hell do we see on Bridge Guy? No, we don't even see anything. So, I don't know. Cordy's got me all over the damn place. Leave me alone, Cordy. I'll find those, though. I will find them and share them. Let's get back to this really quickly. Of course, yeah, it's their job, but they can't out know lie. I mean, they're naming people's names and kind of putting them in a very uncomfortable situation here. Oh, that's what it was, High Priestess. Oh, okay. What? It is? So that's what he posted on that day. The upward arrow, the god of sacrifice. Okay, well, let me just show you what he posted that day. We just saw it on his Facebook page. And now that we have somebody telling us what it is, I didn't realize that. Here's what it is. Whoa. Okay. Well, that's interesting. Justice, sacrifice, sovereign order, laws, principles, spiritual warrior. Oh. Thank you for that. So, it was surprising that they named so many names. It really was. We all have a little conspiracy theorist in us, but you don't want to be disrespectful and go too far, over the line here. I am using what they are telling us. And that's it. That's all you can do. So on Brad's Facebook page, both women were clothed. The stick and the tree branch formations on these girls was different than the stick and the tree branch formations on Abby and Libby, but otherwise it bore a very eerie similarity to the murder scene in Delphi. Ryan had no knowledge of the actual crime scene. However, after reviewing Brad's social media sites, he was disturbed at that image, as well as other images that provided insight into Brad Holder's fascination with runes. Let me just look at one more really quick thing here. I'm very curious. I'm sure this is going to be out here somewhere. I'm determined to find that specific photo. I will. Now I'll be on a yeah, right, why crime? Me too. I'm like, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but all right. So Ryan contacted Toby. They said, look, he isn't a suspect, okay? So undeterred, Ryan contacted the state police, and he ended up talking to Joseph Ryan Winters. After their conversation, Winters memorialized the interaction and placed the images provided by Ryan in a Dropbox account. After creating the report, Winters then discussed his findings face-to-face with Jerry Holman of the Unified Command. The body of this memorandum will provide the details of that interaction. In his report, Winters requested law enforcement to re-interview Brad Holder. The defense does not believe that Unified Command ever followed up on Winters' request. It should be noted that the disturbing images found by Ryan in Georgia and placed in the Dropbox by Winters were not, and still have not, been provided to the defense. In his recent deposition, Winters said he had attempted to locate the images but was unable. However, because of the potential importance of those images to Richard Allen's case, the defense team located Ryan and traveled to Georgia to meet with him. Those images are now in the possession of Richard's defense team, so the little internet sleuth kept the photos where the state trooper couldn't locate him anymore. Ay. So Richard's defense team provided those images to law enforcement. Again, these were important images that law enforcement failed to turn over to the defense. Instead, the defense located these images in Georgia and then turned them over to the very people who had the obligation to provide them to the defense. Unified Command, which included Tony Liggett, who drafted the affidavit for the search warrant, was fully aware of the mimicked crime scene on Brad Holder's social media, as well as other posts that mimicked the exact runes found at the crime scene. He failed to do anything about it, failed to inform the judge of the obvious suspect, Brad Holder, and all of the evidence that existed against Holder, making him a prime suspect. The court will learn in this body of the memorandum that Holder was connected to the crimes, the crime scene, and to the other men who confessed. The other men who confessed to the crime. No, I'm saying runes. Sorry, my accent. Runes, not rums. I say rum like rum. So, will be provided in the body of the memorandum, including the images found on Holder's Facebook page at the time of the investigation, which link him to the crime scene. Okay. The defense will also attach what the defense calls the Winters report, which is the memorialization of Trooper Winters' interaction with Ryan. Liggett provided none of this evidence or information to the judge, but rather allowed the judge to believe that Richard Allen was the lone suspect in the murder despite zero evidence linking Richard to the crimes. Unified Command's failure to vigorously pursue the obvious links between the crime scene and Odinism is even more perplexing when evidence known to law enforcement demonstrated a clear nexus between Brad Holder and at least 4 other suspects. Elvis Fields from Rushville, Patrick Westfall from Delphi, John Messer from Rushville, and Rod Abrams from Rushville, now living in Connorsville. Unified Command was aware that Elvis Fields confessed to his sister that he was the one involved in the murders, even providing his sister with intimate crime scene details, of which only those present at the crime scene would know about. Well, that's interesting. They should have just blamed Ron Logan. Just stop it. So Elvis, who's connected to Brad, who is putting up runes on his Facebook page that mimic the crime scene, and also photos of women dead in a forest that mimic what the crime scene looked like. Also, his son had been dating one of the girls, and these two clowns are friends, but whatever. But why would any of that matter? Right? Who cares? Okay. This is frustrating. Additionally, Elvis told his sister Mary on February 14th, 2017, that he was present at the killings and that he now had a, quote, a brother and was now part of a, quote, gang. In February of 2018, Elvis had been questioned by law enforcement but denied involvement in the murders. However, after being dropped off at his trailer following the questioning, Elvis turned around, walked back to the police car, and according to the police report, asked the state trooper if Elvis's spit had been found on one of the girls. If it had, he said he could explain it away. Pause. Yes, Elvis. Yes. So wait, pause. Elvis is questioned a year later. They're dropping him off at his trailer. He turns around and he walks back to the police car and he says, "Was my spit found on one of the girls? I can explain it away. Would I still be in trouble?" The state trooper heard Elvis utter these words. Kevin Murphy was not part of the unified command, but immediately relayed Elvis's disturbing question to Jay Harper of the unified command. Elvis also admitted to a different sister, Joyce, that he, in fact, had spit on one of the girls. Elvis told Joyce that he was on a trail and a bridge with two girls that were killed and that he was going to be going away for a long time. Elvis's alibi for February 13th, 2017 was probably also flawed. State troopers who weren't part of Unified Command determined that Elvis's roommate concocted a story concerning Elvis's whereabouts on February 13th. This roommate's name is Rod Abrams. Abrams told the story claiming that on February 13th that he, Elvis Fields, and a man named Ned Smith were visiting a sick friend in Muncie. Unfortunately for Rod, the story conflicted with the story that Elvis told law enforcement as to Elvis's whereabouts on the 13th. So their two stories didn't match. These shady alibis were relayed to Unified Command. The shady alibis will be further explained in the body of the memorandum. Furthermore, Unified Command knew that on February 1st, 2018, Elvis' sister passed a polygraph examination when asked if she was telling the truth about what Elvis had confessed. Unified Command failure to vigorously pursue the obvious links between the crime scene and Odinism is even more inexplicable when evidence known to law enforcement included information about another Odinite named Patrick Westfall, who was living in Delphi very close to the murder scene February 13th. Evidence known to Unified Command included the fact that fellow Odinites Patrick Westfall and Brad Holder were close friends as late as January 21st, 2017. However, the friendship ended very abruptly in February or 2017. Allegedly, these two had a fight in February of 2017 where he, Holder, and Westfall were in the woods near a river conducting a ritual. One of them said or did something the other did not agree with, and then they no longer spoke to each other. The river was near Patrick's house. An intoxicated Brad Holder shared this disturbing information with his ex-wife, Amber. Amber then relayed this disturbing information to law enforcement, who were not part of Unified Command in 2019. These officers then relayed this disturbing information to the Unified Command. Liggett concealed this information from the judge. In 2019, Unified Command learned that in a totally different conversation with his ex-wife, Brad pointed the finger away from himself and directly at Patrick as being the person responsible for the murders of Abby and Libby. According to police reports, Brad Holder told his ex-wife Amber that Westfall and his people killed Abby and Liberty because one of their mothers was mixing with other people outside of the mother's race. Okay, so you have Elvis, who confessed to his sister. You have his sister who passed the polygraph, just saying that, yes, that's true. He did tell her that. Cordy's saying that he may have a disability. That could also be true. So maybe he's just making stuff up, much like the making a murderer thing. We don't know, right? Then you've got Brad, who's connected completely to these other Odinites. He's saying that his friend Westfall and his people killed Abby and Libby because one of their mothers was mixing with other people outside the mother's race. Okay. Unified Command was aware that Brad Holder had told Amber, quote, "I can only protect you so much if you keep asking questions," end quote. Brad Holder further told his ex-wife Amber that Patrick Westfall had many people backing him up. That Westfall had also had powerful friends. Liggett knew of this information for more than 3 years before Liggett sought a search warrant for Richard Allen's house. Yet, Liggett never shared this information with the judge. Additionally, Westfall provided a very weak alibi as to his whereabouts on the 13th of February. He told law enforcement he was at home. The defense is unaware of any search warrant that Liggett sought to enter the Westfall house, or whether Unified Command instructed law enforcement to knock on a single neighbor's door to verify his alibi. Hey, Sid. Oh, very nice. 89. Angela, it really is. Hey, Dina. Okay. Unified Command's failure to continually pursue the obvious links between the crime scene and Odinism is even more disturbing when evidence known to law enforcement included information about another Odinite named Johnny Messer from Rushville. Johnny was a recruiter for the Odinites and was also the connective tissue between the Odinites from Delphi, which is Brad and Patrick, and the suspects from Rushville, Elvis and Rod. Delphi is located 126 miles from Rushville. Law enforcement knew that Johnny Messer was friends with Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall. Law enforcement also knew that Messer was acquaintances with Elvis Fields and Rod Abrams. Unified Command theoretically could claim, and actually appear to be claiming, that this connection is simply a bizarre coincidence. However, Unified Command not only knew that Elvis Fields, Rod Abrams, and Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall shared a common acquaintance, Johnny, but also that Elvis Fields, Brad Holder followed each other on Facebook and even mimicked each other's Facebook pages, with Elvis Fields actually recreating the photos that Holder posted on his Facebook page. Shockingly, August 10, 2023, at his deposition, Unified Command member Jerry Holman claimed he did not even know who Johnny Messer was, nor what the evidence showed of Messer's possible role in the murders of Abby and Libby. It is additionally infuriating that Johnny Messer was cleared as a suspect in the murders, considering the following facts. Johnny's ex-girlfriend, Taylor Hornaday, told police that Johnny and Patrick were like brothers. She also told police that she allowed Johnny to borrow her car on or around Valentine's Day 2017, and that Johnny drove her car up there to hang with his Vinlander friends. When he returned to the vehicle, to her, it had dried blood all over one side of it. He refused to discuss the details of how that blood got there. Johnny Messer's ex-girlfriend further stated it took her several car washes to finally remove the blood. Meanwhile, Messer has claimed that he never, not once in his life, had been to Delphi, the home of his brother, Patrick Westfall, and near the home of his other Odinite brother, Brad Holder. So we're all clear on that, right? Johnny's ex-girlfriend, Taylor, let him use the car so he could go see the Vinlanders up there. And when he returned the car, it had blood all over it. Okay. The footnote says Vinlander is a word interchangeable with those that practice Odinism. As State Trooper Roland Purdy stated in his deposition, all members of the Vinlanders are also Odinist. Basically, the Vinlanders are a white supremacist group consisting of Odinists. Brad, Patrick, and Johnny are affiliated with the Vinlander group. Johnny's ex-girlfriend Taylor confirmed that the Vinlanders were Odinists and that Johnny, Brad, and Patrick were all members of Vinlanders. Okay. Taylor also told law enforcement that Brad Holder and Johnny were two of the most violent people that she's known and were fully capable of having been involved in the murders. Johnny's ex-girlfriend further stated that a motive for their involvement in the murder of Abby and Libby might be the concept of blood in, blood out, which means social acceptance into their secret circle. All of this information was relayed to Liggett and the Unified Command team. Yet, Unified Command provided no guidance as to what to do to capitalize on this information in order to work towards solving the murders. Additionally, Unified Command learned that Johnny's ex-girlfriend had been listening to and recording Johnny's phone calls. Police secured the phone and listened to 3 phone calls involving Johnny. In 2 of these phone calls, Johnny was offering money to other people to find someone so that they could be injured or killed. The 3rd phone call involves Messer bragging about holding a subject hostage and shooting them at his house. Essentially, Unified Command said nothing to see here regarding Johnny and issued no search warrant for his home. None have been disclosed to the defense, nor did they attempt to utilize an age-old investigative tool referred to as an interrogation to pursue the truth about the involvement of Johnny, Brad, or Patrick. Let me pull you guys really quickly here, okay? And I'm being serious. I don't want to be as sarcastic as this document is. I really do want to be serious. If you had this information on these guys and you went to the FBI and the BAU, the Vinlanders has been around a lot longer than that. They were actually at the storming of the Capitol. I'd look them up too. So I can't, if I'm probably going to get, maybe we can go over that in the next one. But the Indiana ones, Landers creation. That's Southern Poverty Law right there. Who put that in? The poll is, if you had all this information, what would you do with it? Would you think that this is very suspicious? That these are very violent men, and you've got somebody from each family, not each family, but each person. So you've got a sister, you have an ex-wife, you have an ex-girlfriend. They're all saying that these people are very violent, and they've got them on phone calls talking about killing people. They're putting pictures on their Facebook pages that are very similar, allegedly, to the crime scene photos. To It's very confusing to me. No, Cordy, I wasn't. Okay. Okay. No. Just because my dog's name's Freya. I mean. Yeah, did you say 2023? Skilo? Oh, 2003. Okay. Yes. Yeah. That's what I had. Okay. So I'm like, 20, what? All right. There are Odinites in the Westville Correctional Facility guarding Richard Allen. Okay. The evidence shows that during his pretrial incarceration at Westville Correctional Facility, Richard Allen has been monitored, intimidated, and mentally abused by correctional officers who are also members of the Odinite cult. Two of these correctional officers are named Sergeant Robinson and Sergeant Jones. These Westville correction officers boldly wore patches on their Department of Corrections uniforms that proclaim "In Odin We Trust," along with another patch displaying the symbolism of Odinism, interlocking triangles. Both Odinite correctional officers, Robinson and Jones, also display images of runes and or other Odinite symbols on their Facebook pages. As recently as June 25th, 2023, for example, Sergeant Robinson openly displayed a photograph of his Odinite altar on his Facebook page. A similar altar can be found on the Facebook page of Brad Holder. Beginning at least on April 3rd, 2023, Sergeant Jones and Sergeant Robinson wore their Odin patches where the defense team visited Richard Allen. However, Robinson and Jones' brazen display of their Odinite patches came to an end on August 17, 2023. What changed? Why did they suddenly no longer display their Odinite patches beginning in August of 2023? Was it because of Richard Allen and his defense team's visits? Here's your possible answer. It was not until August 10th, 2023, deposition of Trooper Jerry Holman, that Richard Allen's defense team finally revealed to the prosecutor and to the Unified Command that for many months they, the defense team, had been fully aware of the strong evidence linking Odinism to the murders. It was also at the August 10th deposition that Unified Command learned that Richard Allen's defense team was not only aware of this information, but intended to expose the linkage of Abby and Libby's murders to Odinism and would also be revealing the names of the Odinists at trial. At that deposition, Holman and the prosecutor learned that the defense team obviously intended on exposing the Unified Command's utter failure in pursuing the Odinist suspects, in spite of the powerful evidence of the Odinites involved in the murders. However, and this is important to note, at his August 10th, 2023 deposition, Richard's defense team did not let Holman or anyone else know that it, the defense team, was fully aware of the Odinite corrections officers at Westville wearing an Odin We Trust patches. Richard Allen's defense team's next visit with Richard at Westville following August 10th was 1 week later on the 17th. Curiously, or perhaps not so curiously, in those 7 days since the defense team revealed their knowledge that there was evidence linked to Odinism to the murders, for the first time, Sergeant Robinson was no longer wearing the Odin patch. It was almost as if someone had alerted him the gig was up, because the lawyers knew about the links. So lose the patch and pray the defense attorneys never noticed the patches on your prior visits. Unfortunately for Westville and Unified Command, Rick's defense team absolutely noted the patches worn by Sergeant Robinson and Sergeant Jones beginning April 3rd. Furthermore, Rick's defense team absolutely noticed the conspicuous absence of the patches following Holman's realization that Rick's defense team was aware of it. The court also learned in the body of this memorandum that Jones and Robinson were seemingly always by Richard Allen's side during most, if not every visit. Normally, corrections officers were within earshot of every conversation between Richard and his attorneys, between Richard and his wife, close enough that Richard would be worried about any conversation with his attorney and wife being overheard. Beginning April 3rd, and for several visits thereafter, Westville correction officers even videotaped attorney visits between Richard and his defense team. Most of the time, if not every time, it was Jones or Robinson bringing the handheld camcorder to the visit. What? Corrections officers were recording attorney-client meetings? That doesn't... What? The positioning of Richard Allen's body would allow the correction officers to videotape Richard Allen's mouth as he talked to his attorneys. Richard, therefore, would not be able to privately discuss anything with his attorneys, such as, quote, "The guards are telling me that my wife and family will be killed unless I call my wife and tell her that I killed those girls," end quote. What? Oh my goodness. Instead, a mentally defeated Richard Allen would continually mutter to his defense team at every visit. Quote, is my wife alive? Is my family alive? Is my wife safe? Is my family safe? End quote. At one such meeting with his attorneys, Richard mumbled in a somewhat incoherent fashion that the Odinites were threatening him. It would be important to note that Richard Allen's defense team had never mentioned the words Odinites or Odinism or informed Richard that evidence suggests that Odinites murdered Abby and Libby until August 25th, 2023, when his defense team, in the presence of his wife, who was visiting him in prison, first discovered the exculpatory Odin-related evidence to Rick. Rick's defense team felt that having him remain unaware would hopefully keep him a bit safer. Due to his weakened mental state and concern that he might unwittingly discuss his attorney's strategy to Jones and Robinson, Rick's attorneys opted not to discuss the Odinism with their client for fear Robinson and Jones would be on the alert that the team was aware of the Odinite involvement. They needed additional time to investigate and review the evidence before feeling confident and comfortable in revealing their knowledge to the court. Whew. So they kept him in the dark about it. More detailed information concerning the Odinite correction officers, as well as documentation supporting this information, will be provided in the body. Liggett concealed certain witness testimony, falsified other witness testimony in order to prevent Liggett's bogus timeline from being exposed to the judge. Can you imagine? Yeah, here's a footnote. To be clear, up to this point, Richard Allen has never spoken these words to his attorneys. The point is that the Westville guards have made the privacy needed for Richard to have that type of private conversation with his attorneys very difficult and perhaps not worth the risk if you are Richard Allen. So if you go back up here to the number 15. Okay. We're going back up now. Richard would therefore not be able to privately discuss anything with his attorneys because it was being videotaped, such as the guards are telling me that my wife and family will be killed unless I call my wife and tell her I killed those girls. Footnote 15. You go here and it says, to be clear, up to this point, he has never spoken these words to his attorneys. The point is, the Westville guards have made the privacy needed for Richard to have that type of private conversation with his attorneys very difficult and not worth the risk if you are Richard Allen. Yeah, this is nuts. So nuts. My gosh. Guys, this is page 23. We're only on page 23. Okay. So I guess we're just going to do this every morning from 10:30 to 12:15 until we get through it. You guys okay with that? If you want to be here for it, I'm here for it. But there's no possible way that I can get through all of this. And I've got to do other work. So he's starting to look innocent. Yeah. That's some spin, isn't it? Sure, yeah. I mean, it's crazy town. It's crazy town. The other case that I am very, very interested in, that I was hoping my friend Dietz was going to be covering, but she's going to be taking a break for a little while, is the Karen Reed case. 24-hour live stream, Laya. I may be back tonight, though. I might just come back on for like 2 more hours tonight. Is the Karen Reed case. So it's a Boston case, so of course I'm super interested in it. The Karen Reed case is about a boyfriend and girlfriend, Karen and John, and they go to a bar. They have some drinks, a lot of other Boston cops around. They then go to another cop's house after the drinks. And he gets out of the car. She doesn't really want to go in, and she leaves. He doesn't come home. She's calling, like, where the hell is he? And he's discovered dead on the lawn in front of another cop's house. And that's all I'm going to say for now. She is being railroaded. She is being, it's awful. It's awful what's happening to her. It's Boston police are, they used to call like New York police, LA police gangs. Boston police are very, very, very tight knit. And if one of their own does something, they're not going to just turn in their own people. So there's a guy that probably a lot of you will dislike, but I've known of him for 15 years or something. His name's Turtle Boy. He is very outspoken. He's very blunt. He's very Bostonian, and he's all over this. He has really gotten a lot of support for Karen, and he is exposing the hell out of the police. So we are going to be talking about that as well. Well, High Priestess, yeah, it's very crazy, you know. Anytime somebody has a thought out of the norm, people want to make fun of you and call you a conspiracy theorist. And it's just not right. You do, Red Charm? Good. I love Turtle Boy too. So, yeah, I talked about this back during Gannon Stauch's case. Like, it's been going on quite a while. But it is not a case that you can just kind of half-ass talk about, because there's so many rabbit holes, so much documentation, so many details, so much corruption, that you got to dedicate some time and sit down and really listen to it. Yeah. So we will be doing that as well. And I'm just going to be doing my stuff in like 2 hour, I don't know, 2 hour little thanks for coming back when I just left. Thanks a lot. Curdy, you know you miss me and you love me so much. So, okay, Mama. Yeah, we're going to be getting into that. So maybe I'll do 2 hours in the morning, a couple hours at night. I'm up really late now because of the whole candle stuff. You know, you have to do all the things in the house, normal things, and all my regular work. So it's like having 5 jobs now. I did not wound you, Courtney. But yes, I am back, and I will be not neglecting my channel again. That's why I don't like talking theories in public, but my brain will run wild. Yeah. We need a safe space. Yeah, I know, Queen. Yesterday, past few weeks have been really shitty on here. They have. And I definitely have a voice and a mouth that I am not afraid to use, no matter who it's up against. So I just got very discouraged yesterday after everything that went down. And even to see it being spun today, it's very weird to me. I operate in fact and what I can verify and what I know. I definitely don't just take somebody's word for it because I want to go against somebody else. So the weird narrative that's already being run this morning, because people don't like Laura, it's beyond me. And this is why people are able to do the things that they do in this community, because there's so much hate for one person or another person or another person that you can kind of just put it all together and say, well, we're just not going to believe that because we hate the person who's providing the information. That is not mature. That's not research. It's a problem. We've got a problem in this community. Your hate for people won't let you see the truth in things. And that's okay too. I know what the truth is. I've seen the information. I absolutely know what it is. And I don't care how big somebody's mouth is or how much support they have. I stand on the truth and I stand on what's good. Whether people like it or not, I don't care. So there's that. And seeing what my friend went through was bullshit. I don't like it. So Clara said, there's going to be a huge void left. And I agree. I agree that my friend leaving for a while, she'll be back because we're going to make sure of that. In the meantime, what good can I do? Can I add to the conversation in true crime? We'll see, right? I could go the other way and go fight against the people who I feel are responsible for gaslighting her. And I thought about that. I said, all right, you could go this way and bring in 1,000 people per chat and drag these people with all of it. And that's really what I wanted to do. If I'm being completely honest, that's what my gut said go do. Right? But that isn't going to help anything. It's not. Because my voice is not going to make anybody change. So I'd rather provide a space where we're doing stuff and learning things, because no matter what channel you turn on that's talking about these same issues, it's the same old bullshit. It's the same old spin, trying to get people to see their view of things. So it's just bullshit. Oh, Mama Steph, but it's really what I wanted to do. There were just two things that I could have done. Either that or this. So we're going to do this. And that's what we're going to do. So hopefully I'll be back on tonight. I don't have anything else scheduled to do tonight. I have to finish my website for the candles and then pour some more candles, of course. The regular stuff. Dinner, blah, 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 blah. You've changed, have you, QWERTY? I have not changed. I need to change. I need to change. And I think doing this type of stuff will help me get back to where I wanted to be. You're not familiar with Dietz? Well, she's amazing. She's amazing. And then there are people on here who aren't and portray that they are. Okay? And you guys know I'm not going to fucking lie to you. It's not going to happen. I'm going to tell you exactly what the truth is. Period. And as she said on her live when she was leaving yesterday, be very careful about some of the people on here. Just be very, very careful. And I always say what I say with my whole chest. So there's that. Let me not get carried off into it, because I will we're not going to do that, right? We're going to be a more mature, this is whatever, Tracy. That's what we're going to do. We're not going to go down the road. She's the best. She's the best. Yes, I will be live after 8:30. Yes. Oh, absolutely, cotton balls. Hey, Deborah. Really, Angela? You better know that's right there. They will sit right next to you and laugh with you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. What are you saying, Pix? I'll miss her. Yeah, people were saying that last night. Well, Dietz is leaving. Are you leaving? I'm like, no, I ain't going nowhere. I only hope that I can do Dietz some justice on this Karen Reed case. She's so into it. I'm like, oh man, I probably won't be able to do this justice, but I'm going to give it everything I got and try. But yeah. AF Pennington, how are you, sweetie? No onions, please. I love you so much, Biddy. Life is very hard. It is. It is. And for about 6 solid months, we've just watched a lot of crap go down. A lot of good people accused of bullshit things by people who are known to be these type of people. But you keep your mouth shut, because you don't know. All these channels are going to come after you, and it's too much. But we're going to keep our community over here and add new good people. You know my old saying, go find your fucking people, because we ain't here. That's what we're always going to go by. Go find your people. They're not here. I didn't leave you. I had to leave. Listen, you want me to be a psycho on here swearing all day? You don't. You don't. I did that in private with girls. Like, I'm going to punch these fucking people in the face. But we're not going to do that. We're going to rise above it and deal. I mean, please don't get me wrong. I have a whole nother channel. And if I need to drag a hoe, we will. But we're not going to do that. We're not. Seriously. Let me knock it off. I've said enough the past few days. People probably think I'm a psychopath. I said what I said. Okay? Now we're going to move on to important things. I even sent you a song saying stay, but no. I had to leave. I had to for a little bit. You just don't want to see that yucky side of me. Why do I feel like I have to be forced to be included in something that has nothing to do with me? You know what, Scorpio? You don't, because I felt that way too. I really did. And you don't. Everybody's welcome over here. Why crime? That person has never liked me, honey. And look, they're over here right now. It's great. It's wonderful. I'm happy for that. We will attract the people, whatever vibe we're putting out there, those are the people we'll attract. That's it. It's definitely going to be smaller than the drama stuff. But as we get more into these cases and grow, it is what it is. And that's fine. Bama! Whatever. You shut your mouth, Gritty. Yeah, Scorpio, I know. I know. I love you so much, buddy. Delphi is what my guy watches. Some real lunacy. Yeah. Find your people. Love them, fight for them, and cherish them. Absolutely. And every time that I go live, the core people, they always come. Oh, it doesn't matter what I'm talking about. Doesn't matter. Keep your eyes open. Okay? If you go live and you're talking about something serious and your core people aren't there, do I need to say anything more? You think about that for a minute. Go look at these chats. Keep your eyes open. If it's constant bullshit and drama and your chat's full, But when you have something really important to talk about or something serious to go over, and you've got an 8th. Hey, Judy. Watch the chat, Scorpio. Yep. I'm so happy, Judy. Thank you so much. You're not going to go nowhere, mama. Gavel, it's so much. I know, Audrey. We've got the best group of people, regardless. And then the people that you end up forming, like, just think about Betty. Betty doesn't care if I'm talking about dog poop. She's like, hey, I'm here. I'm here for it. What are we talking about today? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, okay. I love you, Betty. So I very much thank you for that, Wycombe. I really have. Do you guys want to see the newest pet? Yes or no? Do you want to see the newest pet? Yes or no? Of course you do. Hold on. This is not my fault either. Honey, bunny. It's not a bunny. All right, hold on. Oh, I'm frozen. Wait, why am I frozen? Wow. I'm frozen, guys. Am I frozen? I look frozen to me. What does she do? You can't hear me either? Hold on. So weird. Hold on. How about now? Am I back? Am I back now? Oh, refresh. Because I'm back on my screen. So this is Loki. That is also an Odin name. I think it was one of Odin's sons, allegedly. Whatever, not the point. Shut up. I did not name him that. Here's his tail. It looks like a raccoon on the back. It's the Lokester. I did not get a kitty. My daughter did. She cried and cried and cried until we got it for her. It was abandoned at a construction site, and her friend couldn't keep it. We do, QWERTY. Can you tell? What are you doing? What are you doing, little kitty? It's 5 months old. Now I need 2 ravens, right? It was Odin's son. Yeah. My cat's name is Loki. One of my dogs' name is Freya. Back up off me. See, back up off me, suckers. Suckers. Yes. Both of my children are very much cat people. And I'm pretty sure that this is a Siamese Maine Coon cat. Almost positive. What are you doing there, you stinky thing? What are you doing there? He doesn't care about anything. Look, he doesn't care. He's just like, whatever. See? This is a kitty. Just sit down. He does not care about anything. So he just chills mostly all day, but it has a big, but I can tell that it's a Maine Coon because of the ears and because of its tail. Let me put it closer to the camera so you can see the ears. The tail is crazy, right? He looks like he has socks on in the back. See his ears? Let me show you the tail. Stop it, silly. See? It looks like a raccoon. Why are you mad? Because it wants me to lay him down. Okay. All right. I'm sorry. Don't be so mad all your life. Lobster. You okay? You all right? He's all right. Of course, a black cat. I did not reject Helen Keller. Liar. He is pretty. He's a sweetheart, too. So the dogs, I mean, they don't know him. So, no, Elizabeth, I hate cats. They don't really know him. Lola's met him face to face. And that's it. Stream of consciousness, now a cat. The cat's not named Bob, no. I mean, Alex and Jace named him. So, what happens is, because he's a rescue, not even a rescue, I mean, he was homeless. So, he was at a construction site. He was all by himself. Alex's friend found him, and then she couldn't keep him. So, Alex's boyfriend kept him in the garage for a week, and Alex cried at home for a week. It was ridiculous. That's how I ended up in this enormous room. So my office is not my office anymore. Nothing is the same. Hey, Hotley. Look. Let me see if I can show you guys anything in here. Hold on. Can you see the little candle studio type dealie here? I don't know if you can. I'll show it to you all in the day. Like, it's a lot. So what ended up happening was Scott said no. He said absolutely no cats. Absolutely no cats. He hates cats. He really does. He's like, absolutely not. So Alex cried. He saw that. He was like, oh, fuck. So he comes downstairs and he's like, I got a deal. What's your deal? Deal is you guys organize this house, the whole upstairs. Alex takes the other room, which was the dog's bedroom. You take Alex's room because it's huge. You move all your candle business upstairs along with your work business. And then the third bedroom on this floor becomes a storage room for all our stuff, plus your work supplies. I'm like, okay. It took forever. It took a whole week just to, it was horrible. So he lives in my daughter's room. When Tommy and Freya go outside, he can come in here and run around with me. Jace gets home at 4, and then Jace has to babysit. I know, Kim, right? Oh, you have Maine Coon mixes? Yeah, my sister had a Maine Coon named Peanut Inglewood, and it passed away this year. She has been beside herself. Absolutely beside herself. Yep, he did. Adrian. He's like, I don't fucking like cats. I'm like, well, do you like your kids? He's like, I fucking bought them all these dogs. What the fuck? All right. Want to go around something? You're not, because you're going to knock over all my candles. You're going to knock over all the candles. And I don't like that. All right. Airbnb your cat room. Oh, you're so mad. What's going on with your ear? Do you have an ear infection? What? Let me see. Nothing. Is your ear okay? I probably just messed it up. Scratch it. Scratch your ear. All right, I gotta go. Get him, Chipped. He ain't going nowhere. What? Yeah. No, the dogs don't love him. They don't know him. We have bulldogs. Like, no, he just got back from the vet. He went to the vet. He got a whole. He's just gone on so much. He's so chill. Stop. He just chills. When will my candles be for sale? Very soon. Do you like it? Oh, wait. Wait. Let me shut this fucking light off. Hold on. See that? Ooh. Mother suka. See? This is a 5-ounce jar, handmade by myself. This is one of my 14-ounce candles. Oh, it's a big one. See it? I am making candles now, yeah. You want to give me a piece? I don't like what your ear's doing right now, buddy. I really don't. Put it up. I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. 3 wickers. God, this cat is weird. I know. It's coming, but I have to go out of town October 2nd to the 5th. So I'm like, I could do a soft launch and then ship after the 5th again on different ones. But all right, I have to go. There's so much to do. It's 12:40. I gave myself till 12:30. I'm trying to stay on a very make a karate candle. Trying to stay on a schedule. It's very difficult, but is there a launch party? Maybe. Yes. What are the scents called? All right, that's the last thing I'll say before we go. Forest Queen, which really smells like the forest. It's unbelievable. Toucan's Carnival, which smells exactly like Fruit Loop cereal. It's crazy town. Harvest Hearth. It is a caramel, vanilla, pumpkin concoction. Midnight Melody. Oh, motherfuck. You see why I don't like cats? Because they got their own mind and they'll bite ya. Anyway, I gotta go. Oh, your midnight one. I have it right here. This is, no, that's not it. I made one specifically for Jenny. I take a picture. I send it to you later, Bisha. I gotta go. Oh, the Fruit Loops. My God. Look, I gotta go put this fucking cat back. I love you. Bye. Don't you do fresh stuff.